The nation of Israel remains to many the flashpoint in the Middle East. The Prime Minister of Iran this week threw down yet another stoking of the fire over Israel when he tweeted, quote, "This barbaric, wolf-like, and infanticidal regime, which spares no crime, has no cure but to be annihilated," unquote. This as Israel itself warns the world about the dangers of even considering the possibility of giving Iran permission to go nuclear. Let the discourse be joined with a lot more. Let's welcome to MidPoint Professor of Political Science at the University of Pennsylvania, specializing in modern history and politics of the Middle East, Ian Lustick. And he is the Senior Research Analyst at CAMRA, the Committee for Accuracy in Middle East Reporting in America, Helene Innie. Gentlemen, we thank you both for joining us today.
Thank you.
Ian, I'm going to start with you first, Ian, because a lot of this dates back to an original article that you had written back for the New York Times in September of 2013 called A Two-State Illusion. And there are still many people who believe that that is the only way that things can be brought to some sort of an accord in the Middle East right now and stop the violence. Is there needs to be that two-state. Now, I know that you don't advocate the two-state solution, but then where do we go from here? Is two-state the only way to go?
There's a difference between a solution and an outcome. I can easily imagine a very pretty picture of the future with two states, a sovereign Palestinian state, a sovereign Jewish state living side by side. And that picture would bring a lot of satisfaction to a lot of people. There would still be problems, but not the problems we have today. I can also imagine a very pretty picture of a one democratic state in the whole area. I can even imagine a picture of 10 cantons. But being able to imagine pretty pictures of the future is not a solution. A solution means you have to have a way to get there through some realistic political process. And none of those pictures that I had described, now is there any route that I know of to get to any of them. So that's why I say that these are not solutions. What we have really now is a one-state outcome in which Israel is the one and only state between the Jordan River and the sea. It can do whatever it wants virtually throughout the area. But that's not the kind of a state that's going to be a basis for peace and stability in the region.
Okay, let me stop there. Helene, let me go to you then, because this is what many people have said, that it cannot be the one state, that something else must happen in order for there to be any sort of a lasting peace.
Well, let's be clear about one thing, and that's that that references to one binational state is basically a euphemism for gerrymandering the area so that the Jews are no longer in the majority, and the Jews no longer have the political power as a self-determining people. And that, in effect, I think is what Ian Lustick and other like-minded people are calling for. In effect, if not an intent, but probably an intent, is an end to national self-determination for the Jewish people and some sort of pathway to shut down the one place in the world where Jews aren't the minority subject to other people's decisions.
Well, let me stop you there for one sec, because I have to ask then, because you just made a charge here that I need to ask Ian about. Ian, are you then saying, or were you agreeing then with any inference whatsoever that, as Helene said here, the Jews no longer will be a political power and you take away that self-determination?
No, I'm never saying anything of the kind. And I never actually advocated a route to getting to this one-state solution or this I'm just saying that right now there is one and only one state, and it's a Jewish state throughout the whole region. And that is not a basis for a stable or just solution to the problems in the area. One has to go back to finding a democratic basis for a future. Now, that democratic basis does not have to be a binational state. It could be. It doesn't have to be two states. It could be. It doesn't have to be one democratic state without binationalism. It could be. All we have to insist on, and I hope my counterpart here would agree, is that whatever political solutions we get in this area has to be democratic, has to be based on equality, and has to allow non-exclusivist opportunities for self-determination.
Let me go ahead and stop there. 30 seconds, 30 seconds, Helene, and then we take a break. Do you agree with those three items?
I think obviously we need to have democratic states in the region. I think another prerequisite to any potential solution that could work without bloodshed is to allow self-determination for the Jewish people. A one-state solution is not up for debate.
What about self-determination for the Palestinian people, though? That's what the critics will say. What about giving them self-determination?
Well, that's something that the sides they're certainly entitled to, in my personal view. The organization I work for, Camera, doesn't take political stances about how the best way to move forward is. But as far as I'm concerned, for sure, if the Palestinians deserve self-determination, which many people argue for, then certainly the Jews do as much as any national group in the world. The problem is when you talk about one state, you're essentially talking about disenfranchising the Jews.
Okay, hold it right there. I'm going to stop you at that point. We'll come back, pick it up from there when we continue with part 2 of this discussion right here on MidPoint.